right, so you're in a cash flow gap or in a cash flow crunch. What can you do about it? That's what we're going over today. And we have a video here or maybe here, I don't know, I'm still getting used to this, about 12 reasons and 12 ways and scenarios that you can get into a cash crunch. If you want to know what to keep an eye out for and what to avoid, maybe you'll like that video. Take a look. It'll only take a second. So today we're going over, you've already managed to dig yourself into a hole. What are the things that you can do to get yourself out of that hole as quickly as possible and start focusing on growing your business, growing your bottom line so you don't get into this situation again. Let's dig in. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ivo. I'm a serial entrepreneur and a business growth specialist. Just in the past 3 years, I've managed to help a fintech company go up market and start selling at a 5K price point. After 9 months, they had a successful 9-figure exit. I've helped a manufacturing brand develop and launch their direct-to-consumer strategy and e-commerce platform. And overnight, they saw a 7% increase in revenue and a 15% increase in their bottom line because direct-to-consumer is much more lucrative. I've also helped a SaaS business that had been stagnant, growing 100% year on year and then stagnated for 6 months and was flat. Start growing again. I came in, I saw that they needed to be aligned. We put into place sales and retention playbooks and aligned everything with product. And for the next 6 months, the company grew 40%, and we had another successful exit after 6 months after that. Just to name a few. So across all of these companies and my previous experiences with my own startups, cash flow has been the thing that helped me understand where money is leaking and where we're making money and which specific levers help you grow the business. That's why we made Smoothin, which is an automated tool that gets into your bank account, gets your bank statement, or you can just upload your bank statement. And with it, you get specific insights into what money came in, when, what was the amount. So you know which customers are good customers, which customers are late payers, and which expenses have ballooned, where can you make savings. And you should be going over these things on a regular basis. And I'll be showing you, my task is to show you how to do that on this channel, plus to provide you the tools so you can make your business more profitable every single month. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. So come on and join the community. What we do is got a little bit less to do with income, but it does have, impact on the amount of cash that you need, which is specifically talking about credit lines with your suppliers. Doesn't matter who your suppliers are. You have all kinds of suppliers out there nowadays. Everybody that's, your tech stack, these are all suppliers for your tech stack. And it actually baffles me that, a lot of the time we think, hey, it's a SaaS business, there's no people behind it, these kind of things, so on and so forth, that, if you actually try to reach out to them and say, hey, listen, could I get a payment credit for the next 6 months, or could we look at reevaluating the payment scheme or something like that, that actually a lot of these companies get back to you. And guess what? They also don't want to lose customers. So if they say, hey, the risk they have is that they'll lose you as a customer forever. Whereas if they give you a discount, or if they tell you, hey, you know what, 1 month is on me, pay me in 60 days or something like that, then they keep that potential with you. And because they've had a working relationship with you and they have some kind of trust there with you, then that'll be fine. So a lot of people don't do this, but it's a great way for you if you're really stuck and you don't know how to make payments. Talk to everybody who you need to make a payment to and ask them for a credit line or something like that. All right, now let's dive a little bit deeper into what you can do with your suppliers and your expenses. So number one is talk to your suppliers about payment terms, right? If you have a bill that's coming up and you can't pay it, call the company that issued that bill and tell them, hey, look, I'm in a bit of a pickle. What can we do? Can we split this payment up? Can we prolong it? Can you give me an extension on the payment? Whatever it may be. But you talk about that and you try to get yourself as many bills as you can put to a later time. And if it's because in a situation where basically you have a mismatch of money coming in and money going out, so let's say you had a few annual bills on that month, shipping out some of these invoices with other suppliers to month 2 might make sense, right? So let me simulate a scenario for you. If you have, let's say January came up and you have 2 suppliers that, each are, let's say, 50K for the year. They both issued their invoices on January. You need 100K to pay off both of them. But let's say you only have 70. Why don't you talk to one of them to say, hey, listen, I can't pay you this month. Can I pay you next month, right? Or if both of them tell you, no, I need the payment for the annual fee up front and you have the 30 days, you can talk to all the rest of your suppliers and ask them to say, hey, listen, can I pay you my January invoice in February because I'm in a bit of a pickle. I got to pay for something that's, annual, or for a supplier that, is essential for your business, for your inventory, for example, or whatever it may be. So you have priorities in terms of suppliers. You'll have priority in terms of customers also that you need to deliver to. You guys know this better than anybody else. It's your business at the end of the day. But if you talk to your suppliers about shifting when you need to do the payment, that can be a great way for you to getting out of the hole and try to not be there next time, right? The second thing that you can do is also you can talk to suppliers, but but this is specifically for suppliers that have, issued a single big invoice. So for example, excuse me, if you had an event that you paid for, all right, that you created an event, you asked a lot of people in, you found the venue, you paid for catering, you got a ballroom going, you had a DJ set, maybe you had whatever it may be, you had a specific budget. And if all of that budget's going to one company, that's the organizer, that's the event organizer and the event manager, and they issued you one bill, maybe you go to them and say, hey, listen, you know what? I'm a bit tight on cash right now. Could you issue me a credit line? Or could we split this bill up into 6 payments? Whatever it is. But if you go to a supplier with at least some kind of understanding of when they can get their money back and in which chunks, trust me, that works much better than if you go to them and say, hey, I don't have money. I can't pay you. Sorry. What are we going to do? Give me a discount or something like that. No, everybody's going to tell you to fuck off, and we're not going to do that, right? But if you come to a supplier, and you say, listen, I owe you 100 grand. I can't pay that much right now because it's low season for me. But I could pay you 20 grand for the next five months. Would that work? Then at least you come with a suggestion, you come with some kind of goodwill that you can show the supplier, and then the supplier can be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I've got my own bills to pay. How about, what if, could you increase it to 30K after 2 months or 3 months? So that we can get, instead of 5 months, can we get it down to 3 months, or 4 months, or whatever it may be. At least they'll be willing to negotiate with you on something, instead of just going hey, you know what? I can't pay for the whole invoice, so I'm not going to pay anything to you, right? It's always better to pay at least a small chunk if you can, than not pay anything and not even talk to the supplier, okay? So try these 2 out, and you should be in a much, much better situation when it comes to your suppliers. There is another thing that you could do in terms of, looking at where to save costs, and that's revisiting your expenses and cutting the expenses that are not essential. Now, this is the least pleasant one out of the options that you have, because sometimes that means laying off people, sometimes that means laying off projects that you've been invested in. Sometimes that means, something that was started growing, but it hasn't grown to be significant enough or big enough, means you're going to cut it. So, there's all kinds of scenarios that you're not going to like if you have to revisit expenses. But at the same time, it's a good time to realign maybe on the systems that you're working with and how they monetize you and how you monetize your customers. Because if there's a mismatch there, if, for example, you have to have a lot of cold calling and a lot of outreach to a lot of cold emails and a lot of contacts, but the tools that you're using are based on the number of contacts, guess what? A lot of the time that's not going to work, because you're paying for each one of those contacts, And those type of systems are good for where each one of your contacts is actually a customer. That makes more sense. But if you have to have if you have 2 levels or 3 levels of customers, like really cold ones, a little bit warmer ones, and like your actual customers that pay you money, then you should be focused on having a system that charges you for the customers that are generating money for you. Because if you're paying for all the other stuff, that might balloon into something very big, especially as you scale. So keep a mind out for that. Revisit your expenses, revisit the different tools once in a while. But if you're in a cash crunch, that should be a very specific place where you're like, okay, what are the other options out here? Especially if it's like a tool or an online tool or whatever it may be. These things are very easy to set up. You can set up a new one. And if if you need to switch from one CRM to another CRM, you might save some time that way. Yes, the old one's not going to be happy. It's going to stop your service and these kind of things. But you can then start renegotiating the term of the payment with them and these kind of things, and you can extend that payment with them, and you have at least another working CRM at the same time. So revisit expenses, cut where you can, and save money today. Now we're going to go into what can you do to increase actually your income. And here I also have 3 suggestions that will help you get yourself out of this hole that you've dug yourself into. 2 of them are very similar. Third one's probably known, but let's dig in. The first thing you can do is similar with expenses is you can call all your customers that owe you money. So they owe you, they still have to pay you, and give them some kind of incentive to pay you at least something today, right? Like tell them, hey, listen, if you pay me 50%, or I can give you a 50% discount off all of your debt if you pay me today. Or, hey, where are you with payments? At least know more or less in terms of a calendar, when can you expect that revenue? Because that is a revenue an income that you've already paid off. You've reported it to the tax authorities. It's gone through all the processes to be aligned and to come into your business. So it's just the last piece, which is coming into the business, right? And that's the first thing you should be doing. Think about the discount thing. People like that sort of stuff. And if you're really if you're really strapped for cash, then you should really look at getting that money in. The other thing you can do is, what about all the customers that are good payers? They've never delayed on a payment. They're continuing to use their services. They've been using your services for years. Guess what? You have good relationships there, which means you can call them and you can tell them, hey, buddy, I'm in a bit of a pickle, and could you help me out? Could you pay me up front for the next 6 months, for example, if you're on a monthly type of contract? I'll give you a 20% discount. I need to make up payments for XYZ. We're strapped on cash. I'm coming out personally to all of our large customers asking for help, and this is my offer, right? So if you come out with a discounted offer or with something, or even if it's not a discounted offer, like if you have a very good relationship with your top partners, just be honest to them and say, hey, listen, I'm in a bit of a pickle. Can you pay up front for the next 6 months? I'll be eternally grateful for you. Next time you come to asking for me for a favor, I'll do whatever you need, right? So there's different ways that you can go about it, but it still boggles the mind how we don't talk to our customers and the good ones, because we think that we're going to destroy our reputation with them, when actually it's the opposite, right? Like if they're a good customer of yours, think about it from their perspective. They don't want to lose you as a supplier. So if you're coming to them and saying, hey, listen, buddy, you like my service, but there's a risk that you're not going to have it tomorrow, they're going to be like, oh, Dan, okay, what can we do? How can we help you? And they can help you only on their scale, right? But if you get 10 people paying you a little bit up front, then that might solve all your problems. So talk to your customers, know what's happening with the bad ones, know what's happening with the good ones, and with the exceptional ones, give them a personal call, try to get some revenue from them, some income from them right now. You'll be surprised by the effects of this. And it surprised me so much that nobody actually does this. It's crazy. Like we always talk about the bad payers and chasing them, but we never talk about talking to the good customers. And it's a shame. You should try it. You will like it. Trust me. The second thing that your customers could do, okay, if they can't pay money in, maybe what you could do at the same time is, call up your customer, tell them, this is the situation. Look, either can you help me out with either paying upfront for my service for a specific amount of time, or for a specific volume, or specific items, or like pre-orders, whatever it may be. You can also talk to them and say, hey, listen, at the same time, do you have anybody in your network that you could refer me to that might need this service, or that might need these items, or that is looking to grow, and try to get referrals out of customers as well. This is a much smaller situation, but sometimes you never know. Sometimes golden nuggets come out of these things, especially when you talk to existing customers and you actually do the calling. So it's not something that's viable for you to do every single month, but once in a while, if you have a good reason, call your top 10 customers, tell them, hey, listen, either you help me out with money, or do you have a referral that you can give me that will start working with me this month and generate extra revenue and get additional customers at the same time. Both things work, both things are good, and you should try them out. And the third and last one that I can recommend to increase your revenue is trying out something as a new promo, or a new service, or a longer period of a service, or whatever it may be. Like if you have a subscription business, maybe come out with something innovative, like, I don't know, lifetime access at a 4 times price point of what your usual lifetime value is. Or coming out with a discount for specific line items to get the stuff that's in your warehouse that you haven't been able to sell for a long time. At least get it out and get some cash back. There's different ways that you can look at like what you want to offer to the market, what you want to offer to people, but coming out with like new ways for people to get money, or even talking to your existing customers and saying, hey, look, great, we've been thinking about XYZ as a new product or the next step, and getting their feedback and saying, hey, you know what, actually this is a problem for me, or like I'm trying to do this, can you help me out? Maybe there are some quick wins in there, but talk to your customers, understand where they're standing, and understand where you can earn extra money with them, because your existing customers are the ones that are open, they have trust in you, and you can definitely sell something to them. And that's a way to increase your revenue. Either you sell something to them, or you get their cash up front for something that they bought already, right? So good luck if you're going through all of this. I've been through this several times myself. It's not a nice place to be in, but trust me, once you've gone through it, you'll come out stronger on the other side, and you should be smarter in terms of how you follow up with all your cash payments, where your calendars are, where your bigger payments are, and these kind of things. So if you want to have a clear way of seeing that, try out the smoothin.ai tool, which does these things for you automatically. All you got to do is either upload your bank statement, or connect to a bank if you're in the EU, and we get your bank statement for the past 6 months, and we run it through AI. It automatically categorizes everything into income, expenses. All your categories are all your payments are automatically categorized, so you don't have to do that. If we got something wrong, you can always recategorize it, don't worry about it. And have a good eye on where you are in cash flow, and you can project out where you need to make payments, where you're going to get money, so you don't actually land in a cash crunch yourself. Thanks for listening. If you like this type of content, again, as always, like, subscribe, so on and so forth. And I think there's another video coming out on how to avoid this type of stuff. Might be here or here. I don't know. I'll figure it out. And soon it will be there anyway. So see you in the next one.